a really detailed chore chart. They might pay their children allowance based on the chores completed, or they might have some sort of reward or consequence system. Personally, I have never used any of that. I also don't really have consequences for my kids not doing their chores. I just make sure that they do them. I hope that that makes sense. Hey y'all, in today's video, I'm gonna be sharing how our kids do chores. Let's get into it. First of all, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Kaela. I am a second generation homeschool mom to two girls. They are currently 7 and almost 5. On this channel, I love to talk about all things home education, homemaking, motherhood, and I love to share resources, reviews, books, tips, and tricks along the way. I would love to stay connected with you, so please consider clicking the subscribe button, turning on notifications, and if you're on Instagram, come follow me on the gram because I love to share even more little behind the scenes, real life moments with you guys over there. Today's video is a collab with Anna over at Making It Work. She provides a lot of useful content specifically for living with a chronic illness, living healthy, and also implementing a lot of time management and organization systems that can really help us moms. So definitely go check out her channel and make sure that you go check out the playlist. I will link it in the description box below. A bunch of us mamas are sharing our tips and tricks for getting our kids to do chores or any systems that we have that are working for us. And I am sure that some of our ideas are going to be really helpful to you and maybe even things that you can implement in your own house. Chores are kind of a big deal to me. I am by nature a pretty neat and organized person. I like things to look just so. My husband and kids are different. The reason I'm sharing that is because I think most families probably have people in the family who are more organized, more neat by nature, and people in the family who are not. And I think it's important to realize that we are a family, right? We are sharing this experience and this home together. For me, as the neater, tidier person, I have had to make allowances. I have had to compromise. It's a growing process. It's a learning process that I'm definitely still going through. But I've had to realize that with my children, with my husband, our relationships are more valuable to me than having a house that is magazine picture perfect every day. I've had to learn to be more realistic and more reasonable. And I would encourage all of you mamas out there who might be struggling with keeping things tidy, keeping things organized, try to give yourself and your family a little bit of grace. So I'm going to share under 3 main categories. The first one is why. Why do we need our kids to do chores? Shouldn't we be doing them? Shouldn't they be just being kids and living their childhood and not worrying about grown-up jobs? Well, here's a few reasons why I personally think it's very important for children to do chores. The first one is we are a family. And a family is sort of a micro community, right? In a community, every single person needs to contribute. They don't necessarily need to contribute the same thing of equal value. They need to contribute according to their own abilities, according to their own strengths. And our family is the same way. We all live in this house. We all enjoy the benefits of our home together. And therefore, we can all contribute to keeping our home safe, clean, functional. The second reason why it's so important for kids to do chores is we are training them for adulthood. I think that learning how to maintain a home, how to keep a home clean, how to take care of your belongings, these are crucial skills that all adults need, and therefore children need to learn these skills. The third reason is it's actually really healthy for your kids to put in some hard work and get that feeling of satisfaction in a job well done. Children are designed to play, and play should definitely be one of the most important parts of their day. But children also benefit from work. I feel like that's just part of a well-rounded and fulfilling life. The last reason why is I feel so strongly that moms should not do it all. There is this culture, especially here on YouTube. I call it the do it all culture. There's even videos like, get it all done with me, do it all with me. Can we just stop saying that moms are doing it all or even implying that we are capable of doing it all? We're only human. And usually, if we're a mom, if we're a stay at home mom, if we're a working mom, if we're a homeschooling mom, if we're all of the above, we are wearing multiple hats throughout our day. We have to-do lists a mile long. Now, of course, there are systems that you can put in place to help you manage your time, to help you stay on task, and help you be more productive. But that is not the same as getting it all done or doing it all. You don't have to do it all. You shouldn't try to do it all. Okay, so now we've covered our whys. Let's go into our what. What do they do? What do we expect them to do? What's reasonable? This is going to be different for every family and for every kid, but here's a few things that you might want to consider to give you some inspiration and ideas. The first thing that you could do is you could actually just look up online age-appropriate chores for kids. If you throw age-appropriate chores for kids into Google or your Pinterest search, you will see that a lot of people have created these guidelines, these charts where they have categorized tasks based on age levels. These are not one size fits all by any means, but they can at least give you some ideas and some inspiration and give you some chores that you could consider whether or not might be a good fit for your kids. The next thing that you can really think about when deciding what chores to assign is, what do you really need help with? What do you really want off of your plate? Now, for most of us with small children, our kids are never going to do as much cleaning or as much work around the house as we do, simply because they're just not capable of handling as much responsibility, right? So there's nothing wrong with trying to get one or two chores off of your plate that you really dislike or you really just have a hard time fitting into your schedule. Maybe it's possible to start training your kids to take over that task completely. Now, depending on when you're starting this process and how old your child is, they might not be able to take over that task right away. It might take some time and effort and training, and we'll get into that. I really don't like laundry. And so one of my first goals in training my girls was to get them to do their own laundry, and that has worked phenomenally. It's been a process. It's taken years to get to that point. But now my 7-year-old and my almost 5-year-old do their laundry almost completely independently. The next thing you can consider when deciding what chores to assign to your kids is accessibility. What is accessible to them in the home? And do you need to make any changes to make certain cleaning supplies or tasks easier for them to access on their own? In our house, what I have found to be really helpful is to have cleaning supplies that my kids can access freely, such as microfiber cloths or dusting mitts that are washable and easily accessible, baby wipes, spray bottles with just water inside. We personally love the microfiber cleaning products from Norwex. These are really great for kids. Norwex actually has kid size dusting mitt and kid size cleaning cloths, which is really helpful. They've even come out with some cute patterns and designs that make it a little bit more fun for kids, but that's by no means an essential. There's lots of companies that make similar products and they might be more affordable or accessible to you. You just kind of have to look for it. So now that you have an idea of what specific things you could have your children do around the house, How do you implement it? Ideally, you'd want to start training your children to do household chores as young as possible. And I'm talking diapers, you guys. When my girls were old enough to talk and walk and follow me around, that was really the critical age when I could show them that they could be helpful and contribute around the house. And usually that starts with very simple things like cleaning up their toys, putting their toys in a container. I know that most little ones are fascinated with buttons and knobs. My girls personally loved to help me just push the button on the washing machine or the dishwasher to get it going. Small toddlers might be able to wipe things down with a baby wipe or a damp cloth. They might be able to transfer wet clothes to the dryer. I know with my girls, one of the very first chores that I had them do was simply helping me sort dad's clothes in one pile, mom's clothes in another, baby's clothes in another after they were all clean. That's something super easy. It's helping them learn their spatial awareness, their coordination. There's so many skills that they are learning during that process besides just learning to do chores and help around the house. So if you have the opportunity to start with your kids very, very young, that would be ideal. I think the younger you can start with them, the better. Now, let's say you're watching this video and you're like, my kid is already older and I'm feeling like we are too late. We should have started sooner and we didn't. That's okay too. I found a 5-step method on how to train a child to do a chore, and I have implemented it over and over again with my girls and found it to be pretty foolproof. It's a 5-step process that I came across on the Simply Charlotte Mason blog. And these simple 5 steps have really just changed how we do chores in our house for the better. First, I do it and you watch me. Then I do it and you help me. Then you do it and I help you. Then you do it and I watch you. And finally, you do it and I inspect it. If you follow those 5 simple steps, you will be able to train your child to do any specific chore that's age appropriate and developmentally appropriate for them. And you'll be able to train them to do it well and pretty close to your expectations. We can't expect perfection. We can't expect that our children are going to do it exactly the way we would do it. And sure, it would be easier and faster if we would just do it right ourselves. But that is not why we're doing this. These steps don't happen over 5 days. These steps might need to be worked on one at a time for several weeks or months. When I'm starting this 5-step process, I make sure and focus on only one new chore at a time. And that way we can really give it both our focused, undivided attention, and I can make sure that they are progressing with that before I start to train them on an additional task. When the girls were super, super little, I'm talking 1, 2 years old, they were very interested when I would do laundry. And sometimes that meant them just coming over and digging through the laundry, right, as I'm trying to fold it, which is kind of annoying. During those early years, they were in the watching me phase and also the helping me phase. I'd give them very small tasks like sorting clothes or pushing buttons. As they got older, they would start helping more with the folding. And I would teach them little by little how to fold items based on how easy the item was to fold. So first we'd start with socks or underwear, then we'd move on to like shorts and pants, and then finally shirts, which for us are the most complicated. They have the most folds. I would work with each of my children over and over and over again with all of the steps of doing the laundry, right? We would do it together all the time until little by little I could phase myself out of the equation. And then all that was left was that final step. In my mind, that final step never really ends. That just becomes the new normal. Your child does the task or chore, and then you check it, inspect it, make sure it's completed. We are in this for the long game, so don't expect immediate results. This will take time. It will take training, especially if your kids are older and they're not accustomed to doing chores. Let them know what the expectation is. Let them know that you are going to train them to get them to meet that expectation. They're not expected to do it right away by themselves. And then start working on it together using that 5-step process or whatever process feels most natural depending on the age and ability of your child. The next part of implementation is making sure that we have some sort of consistency. For some families, that might look like a really detailed chore chart. They might pay their children allowance based on the chores completed, or they might have some sort of reward or consequence system. Personally, I have never used any of that. I try to be flexible. I don't want to overschedule them to where they're overwhelmed and exhausted. After all, they are kids. They do need time to just play and just be kids. I also don't really have consequences for my kids not doing their chores. I just make sure that they do them. I hope that that makes sense. The way that we've implemented chores in our family is I have actually put chores into our weekly routine. Our weekly routine serves as a guide for our homeschool and just kind of the general flow of our typical weekday activities. And within that routine of Monday through Friday, I have 3 main big chores that my girls are responsible for. So Tuesdays, they work together and they dust their bedroom. So I've trained my oldest daughter. She knows to take all of her little knickknacks off of her dresser and her shelves. And my youngest daughter will help her to take the items off and then hand her back the items after my oldest has dusted off the surface. On Thursdays, they work together and do their laundry. They have their own laundry hamper in their bedroom where they're putting dirty clothes every day throughout the week. And typically doing laundry once a week is sufficient for just their clothes. So they will take care of that on Thursday. They will start them in the washer in the morning, put them in the dryer, before lunch or around lunchtime. And then in the afternoon, after they've already finished their homeschool for the day, they have time to fold the clothes and put them away. Now, on Fridays, that is where we have our training chore that we're working on at the moment, and that is cleaning the bathroom. I expect that it will still be a couple of years before they're able to actually clean the bathroom on their own. But for right now, I am training them on how to clean the mirrors and the countertops and how to do a little bit of sweeping and mopping. I don't pay my children for chores. I don't feel that that's necessary. We do give our kids allowance separately. It's not contingent on chores. But if my children want to earn more money, if they have a specific thing that they're saving for or a specific amount that they have in mind that they really want, there are additional tasks around the house. These are tasks that don't need to be done every day or every week. They are extras, right? Things like wiping down the doors or door handles, wiping down the baseboards, vacuuming under our couch cushions. Those are the things that they can do anytime they want and earn a little bit of additional money. But the regular tasks that they have assigned to them, they are simply just expected to do. Now, besides our simple routine of weekly chores, we also have 2 designated tidy times each day. So after lunch, we have a tidy time, and then before bed, we have a tidy time. So after lunch or after dinner, we might need the dining room under the table to be swept of crumbs, and so they know how to do that. They also know how to wipe the table down and get all the crumbs and food residue off of the table where they ate. So they're responsible for those things during tidy time if they need to be done, which usually they do need to be done. The other things that we will look at during tidy time is, does the dishwasher need to be unloaded? That is my girls' responsibility. They do that together as a team. And then just general tidying. So during those 2 tidy times, we might be picking up toys or putting clothes away or putting away our homeschool supplies or art supplies, anything we've been playing with or working on. those are the designated times where things get tidied, put away, and cleaned up. Having those 2 tidy times really helps us to be consistent and just make sure that our space is up to par. Our space is always reset for the next thing. Now, does that mean our home is immaculate all the time? Absolutely not. Behind me, I have an array of art supplies spread out on the floor because the girls have been working on paintings for the better part of a week. That's fine with me. I know that we spend a lot of our time at home and there are crafts and there are ongoing school projects. There are things happening that take longer than one day and therefore they might need to be left out. That's okay with me. As long as it's something that we are actively using or working on, it can be left out. Otherwise, items need to be tidied up or put away as soon as we're done using them. And that's still something that we are practicing and working on each and every day to just make that a habit. Those designated time blocks help us to do that. Chore charts and detailed schedules might work great for some families. They might work great for your family. I personally find it much easier to keep track of a very simple schedule that has bigger chores spaced out throughout the week and smaller, more day-to-day cleaning tasks are handled in 2 regular tidy times each day. I would love to hear from you. How do you handle chores in your house? Do you have a system that's working really well? Do you need to really revamp your system, or are you starting from scratch? Let me know in the comments below. I will see y'all in the next video, and until then, happy homeschooling.